Well, back to the Internet Archive and an interesting Canadian connection. Sara Harowitz has written all about it. She is a freelance journalist based in Vancouver, BC. Sara, so I understand with the archive, there's a link to Canada that many of our viewers may not know about. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so the Internet Archive has a Canadian outpost. It's called Internet Archive Canada, and they've got like a team that focuses on Canada. And within that, they actually have physical servers here in BC.
And so, what do those servers do?
They do a couple things. They archive our own data and our own internet history. So it's really about having data sovereignty over our own internet archive. And then on top of that, they also act as backup servers for the US. So as the American government's getting sort of ever more erratic with what they're removing from their own databases, the Internet Archive Canada is helping provide essentially backups to the backups.
I wonder about this moment in time where all of a sudden our public knowledge, our public information are all of a sudden taken down. So, talk to me about those servers and the role that they serve.
Yeah, I mean, I think the internet, there's so much talk right now about the internet becoming a tougher and tougher place to exist and a place to find real information. There's, we talk about AI slop a lot. There's so much on the internet that is untrue. There's so much on the internet that's dangerous. And so to have an archive, a backup of, news articles, government documents, things that should be of public record and should be, in the public domain and should be accessible by the public. I think that's important too, is the Internet Archive is not just for journalists, it's a free tool that anyone can use. And I think that access to information is probably more vital than it's ever been. So the servers in Canada really help to just ensure that those documents won't ever be lost.
Yes, you mentioned the public. The Internet Archive's mission is to, quote, provide universal access to all knowledge. But, Sara, in that quest, they've faced lawsuits. They have faced, now AI problems, right, with news outlets pushing back, piracy accusations. How do you balance these different priorities?
I think it's tough. I understand outlets' fears about being part of the Wayback Machine specifically, in terms of the AI crawling that can happen there. There's no straight ahead answer. I see both sides, but the purpose of the Internet Archive, I think, probably always.
Yeah, explain to me a little bit how you see both sides. Let me understand that a bit.
I mean, as someone whose writing is out on the internet, and at that point, once it's out, I kind of don't have control over it anymore. In terms of how AI may or may not use it, I understand the concerns around AI scraping my work and then regurgitating it, and then me getting, no further credit for it, me not giving permission to that.
Sure.
So the news organizations that are blocking the Wayback Machine, at least to my understanding, they're doing it not out of concern for the Wayback Machine, but because that is allowing AI tools to then scrape those articles and use them without their permission. So I understand that it's a very real concern across, I think, a lot of industries that have creative output, especially the written word, whether it's books or journalism. So I definitely understand, but I also think that the need for real, true, fact-checked information is so crucial, and the Internet Archive is a big part of that.